A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13. I'm Ritvika Gupta and you're watching our special weekend edition Super Achievers Making New India powered by VoiceWhat. In this episode, we bring you two special conversations featuring trailblazing companies redefining their industries. In the first segment, we speak to Srinivas Mendu, CEO, FundsIndia Private Wealth, and in the second segment, we get chatting with Srivastava Prabhakar, founder and CEO Servify.
In today's complex financial landscape, transparency and personalized strategies have become non-negotiable for discerning investors. FundsIndia Private Wealth addresses this imperative. Founded in 2009 and backed by Westbridge Capital, the platform manages over 25,000 crores for 2.5 million plus investors. With 100% paperless investing and comprehensive strategies, FundsIndia delivers institutional-grade wealth management. Every investment decision is shaped by rigorous collaboration and deep expertise. Hear from their leadership across equity, private markets, corporate treasury, and estate planning as they decode the future of wealth creation.
Corporate treasuries are considered to be the nerve center of all organizations to manage their capital in the most efficient manner possible and ensure that the risk is eliminated from the cash that they manage. What we try and do at FundsIndia is give them solutions which ensures A, that their money is as liquid as they would like it, B, we ensure that there is no impact cost on this money whenever they need it, and most importantly, the risk is controlled in a manner that is well suited for these entities.
At FundsIndia, we are building and scaling the private market practice, giving ultra HNI and family offices access to curated, high-quality, institution-grade offerings, the likes of private equity fund, venture capital fund, private market opportunities, as well as pre-IPO opportunities.
At FundsIndia, we believe that equity is the portion where clients look for growth, and fixed income is an anchor that provides stability to the client portfolio. Indian debt markets have evolved from regular fixed deposits and debt mutual funds, and now we have sophisticated products available like curated bond baskets, debt PMSs, credit AIFs, REIT InvIT units, all these products which provide sophisticated opportunities for clients. However, with sophistication comes complexity. This is where FundsIndia comes in.
Over the last 2.5 decades, we have seen Indian financial markets evolving not only over the products but even the regulatory changes and the investor knowledge. With so many products at investors' discretion, we have seen that investors today face problem of plenty in choosing which product is right for their risk appetite and investment objective. At FundsIndia Private Wealth, we try to address that customer's dilemma and offer them the best available product considering their risk appetite and the goal of investments.
Further elaborate on their vision, we spoke to Srinivas Mendu, CEO of FundsIndia.
Now, what does it take to build a digital-first private wealth platform? Over the past decade, wealth management has moved from being mostly driven by personal advisors to a more hybrid model that combines human expertise with technology. In this segment, we speak to Srinivas Mendu, CEO of FundsIndia Private Wealth, to understand how the firm has evolved from traditional investing. My colleague Sreeja brings you this conversation.
Thank you, Mr. Srinivas Mendu, for joining us on this special conversation on ET Now. We would like to try and understand that you have spent nearly 26 years across India's top financial institutions before founding FundsIndia Private Wealth. So what was that turning point that made you to decide, to build a digital-enabled private wealth management organization?
Thank you, Sreeja. Thank you so much for having me here for this conversation. I think I was fortunate to work with great organizations in this country. Started with HSBC, That's where I started learning client first approach and the risk frameworks. I've learned a lot of risk frameworks from that great organization. And then I saw scale with ICICI Group. I was one of the founding members to set up the region for private banking under ICICI Securities arm. So that gave me understanding about the scale, right? Business scale. So, and I know from day one, I've always been thinking that I should start something on my own, right? In the wealth management space, because I saw the transitions, right? From MNCs to private banks in the wealth management space, and from private banks to the boutique wealth management space, right? The clients, the talent transition from MNCs to private banks to boutique. Then I started realizing, why is it happening, right? And there is a reason for this movement as well, right? And I wanted to start something on my own. And God has been kind, so met Westbridge. Westbridge wanted to, same thought process. They want to do something good for the clients. They want to build a business which can last for long. It's a longevity business, right? Wealth management. So our minds, matched and felt, I think it will be a great opportunity to start for Westbridge, because Westbridge acquired FundsIndia in 23-24, and they wanted to build a massive wealth outfit in this country.
We would like to try and understand from where it all began for you, and what can you really tell us about the private wealth management, especially this particular vertical till date?
Great, Sreeja. I think it all started with Westbridge thought process, because they've been in India for the last 25 years, managing their clients' money in India for the last 25 years, and generated significant alpha to these great institutions in US. And that's when they felt, knowing India, investing in India, but generating alpha to US institutions, right? How about starting something and doing something good for the country? So they wanted me to build from digital platform to a private wealth organization. And so when it started, I didn't have anything, right? It was only a FundsIndia brand digital tech platform, whereas wealth is completely different, and the needs of HNIs and HNIs are completely different, right? I had to start. And I didn't have anything, so I had to start from a Third Wave Coffee, which is again a portfolio company of Westbridge portfolio. So I started from there, Sreeja. It was in November 2024, and from there, I started meeting people and recruiting teams, and no office to corporate office to 25 plus locations in this great country. It all happened in last 14 months, Sreeja.
Okay, can you also tell us a little bit about, in terms of the vertical, right? How has it done so far? Just the vertical.
Yes, of course. So private wealth, again, as I said, we are able to scale this business massively and in a quick time, with 650 employees, 7,500 families, HNIs and UHNIs, right? And our endeavor is to do right things for the client and be a trusted advisor to a client, right? Therefore, I wanted to build an institution around that, and how can I align my banker and my entire institution to client interest. Okay. That is the core, right? And I want to do that from day one. Therefore, by design, we have built this institution around the banker. Banker is the fulcrum of this organization, right? Who manages the relationship with the clients, and therefore I wanted to align banker to a client interest. To make that happen, I have designed policies in such a way that a banker can't think like a transactional banker. He has to think and behave like a trusted advisor, and he has to be a trusted advisor from FundsIndia private platform, right? Private wealth platform. That's how we are built. Today bankers are moving from one organization to other organization. However, I wanted to address that as well and give that stability to the client. To make that happen, I have removed the retirement. There's no retirement obligation. That allows banker to think long term. It also gives comfort and confidence and the stability to a client, right? That's the first point. Second, how can I change the banker mindset from a transactional to a client centric? So that's my second, address. To make that happen, I have removed revenue target from the RM's, KRA, right? That allows banker to think long term and not to think about transactions, right? Be with the client for a very long period of time, and also since there is no retirement, the banker can get his next generation when he or she decides to retire, and hand over clients and assets to the next generation. That again gives comfort for the client, and also banker to align himself with the client in the client interest, right? Do things what client needs.
Taking it from there, I would like to know that how is Funds India making wealth management accessible to high net worth individuals? Also, if you could tell us how different is your approach from the traditional banking?
Yeah. Sreeja, if you look at HNIs, need any customer, any client needs three things, right? One is wealth creation, then wealth preservation,
right,
and wealth transition. Right now, these are three cycles in the life cycle of any customer. Right. First is the wealth creation. Wealth creation has to be really, what I can say, our approach towards wealth creation is very simple. Right, with the simplicity. Right, we don't want to really complicate the client portfolios. Right, we want to go with the simple solutions, with the simple frameworks which can help create wealth for a client, right? And then the next stage is the wealth preservation. The wealth preservation is nothing but how can I help a client in preserving the wealth what he or she has created, with an again proven frameworks there. Right now, and what type of asset allocation we should look at there. In that case, in second phase, is more towards the fixed income. And for me, fixed income solution should give a peace of mind to a client. Right now, if a client wants to take a risk, rather take a risk in equity, not in fixed income. Right, okay. That's our approach. Right? And third is how seamlessly we can help client transfer his wealth to the next generation through estate planning, proper estate planning. Right, this is what we do, and our approach again, Sreeja, is how can we help clients in achieving their the life goals what they have, right?
How do you balance the efficiency of digital platform with the personalized touch for the HNI clients? What do they expect?
So yeah, I keep comparing this digital, AI. I think we talk too much about digital and AI, right? Yes. In cricket, I'm a great cricket fan. If you look at cricket, also, too much of technology is available. But end of the day, who is playing? Right, it's a cricketer who is playing on the ground, right? It's not technology is not playing. In the same, in the wealth management also, the technology should help or enable banker and the client with more inputs and data.
Right.
Right, and that's what we believe. Therefore, we want to build the institution around the banker. It is a banker-led wealth management, right? However, digitally supported, both for the client and for the banker. So if a client wants to have an access to his portfolio, he can have an access digitally. If you want more insights about the portfolio, he can have those insights. Whereas a client, for a relationship manager, he needs to feed it with more data. That technology will help him.
What does relationship management look like for you? And in terms of how do you build that trust, especially with your clients, and when they are entrusting their lifetime savings with you all?
Absolutely, Sreeja. I think it's a great question. This business is all about relationship and trust, yes. Right? And that's what I have learned. My first training was a client first training, not a product training. When I started my career, right? And it's imbibed in me, right? And today, if you look at just to give a comparison with a doctor, right? We know, right, whether we can trust the doctor or we can't trust the doctor with the approach, with having the conversation. The same way clients are also can judge us, right, whether we can trust the relationship or not trust the relationship. It's based on the approach what we take, right? First approach, we don't want to go with the product approach. We don't want to go with the transactional approach. We want to rather go with a solution oriented approach, right? Understand your needs and provide solutions for a client. And to make this happen, we also have a golden rule, Sreeja, a very important rule, right? No, this is what I call it, it's a golden rule, because what we say is what we recommend to our parents is what we want to recommend to our clients. Here, the perspective here is, when it comes to family money, we look at alpha generation, right? If I go with the same approach to our clients' money as well, right? Rather than looking at commissions, if I look at, the alpha for a client, then I don't think at Funds India we will, ever do any mistakes in the client portfolios. If we can avoid mistakes in the portfolio, Sreeja, the wealth creation takes care automatically, right? It's a compounding business. And all our endeavor is to ensure that we don't do mistakes in client portfolio while constructing the portfolio for a client.
Well, that's clearly a client-centric approach that you've had since the time that where it all started for you. With this, we come to an end of the conversation. Thank you for joining us on this special episode of Leaders of Tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Sreeja. Thank you very much.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.